Today we are going to talk about the mental diseases which are manifold, dangerous than the ordinary diseases, physical diseases, which are the causes for suffering all along our rounds of existence, in all our lifetimes. Such are the causes for suffering. So the Buddha has discovered this method to uproot this mental disease, and he himself was cured of this disease. And by having discovered this method, he gave this method to all those who fear the dangers of samsara, round of rebirth, births and rebirths, or who take refuge in the Dhamma, to be rid of these Kilesas diseases. And then he gave the method to subdue, to overcome such diseases. And this way they are cured of such Kilesas diseases. At this point, one should ponder in one's mind this comparison, comparing the Buddha to this medical scientist or medical technician or technologist who is capable of treating the serious Kilesas diseases. And you can think about it with such comparison. And then you can also ponder in your mind a comparison between the Dhamma and the medicine which is systematically prepared. And also Sangha with those disciples, Sangha who are the disciples, and Sangha are the disciples who listen to the monk, or to the Buddha, the community of monks. You can compare them to those patients who are cured of their diseases. They also, Sangha also, by listening to the Buddha, following the advice, following the suggestions and teaching of the Buddha, were cured of their Kilesas diseases by being able to take these medicines which are systematically prepared. In considering such comparison, one should also take into account the quality of the Dhamma as bearing or sustaining the Dhamma practitioner, in order bear to lead to what situation? Bear the practitioner towards the realization of the highest bliss. Now bearing means helping, uplifting. Just like when you want to lift something up, you do it so that it will not stagnate in the middle, or nor would it go down. Instead, you're going to lift it up. It goes up and up. Such is the quality of uplifting. Uplifting means helping, sustaining. It also has the connotation of protection, guarding. In short, it is an agent. It is a means of uplifting one's life from being from the lower stage to the higher stage. So as regards the meaning or definition of Dhamma, has 4 ways of defining Dhamma. The first one is the method of practice. Now, in this case, the practice of Satipatthana, way of mindfulness, we also call it Pariyati, the scriptural aspect. And it is sufficient to, when we say Pariyati, you may think it is very high and very profound. But as far as the practice is concerned, so long as the practitioner understands theoretically that all these mind, body, things, namarupa dhammas, are impermanent, subject to impermanence, they're subject to unsatisfactoriness, and then they're subject to selflessness. They arise on their own, at their will, and they are ungovernable, uncontrollable. So if one understands so much, this is sufficient. One is said to be sufficiently fulfilled with the knowledge, Suttamaya. So, in a sense, the practice of guarding one's mind with vigilant mindfulness of every arising, that is every seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, feeling, stretching, and so on. So such is the method. The method, and then undertaking that method, taking up the method of practice by activating mindfulness, by aiming and energy, the application of energy, sustaining mindfulness. And you practice in accordance with that method. So the correct method of practice is the first definition, and the practice in accordance with the instructions, in accordance with the principles of the Dhamma, is another definition of the Dhamma. So when one activates mindfulness with the application of aiming and energy, one is bound to be connected. One's mind is bound to be connected with the object of attention, as the nodi mind is concurrent with the object of meditation. One is bound to sustain mindfulness. Then the mind will not go elsewhere. There will be no discursive thoughts, no wandering, no restlessness. Instead, it will fall calm and collected on the object of attention, leading to samadhi, concentration. As one makes the practice, repeated practice, as the nine-noded mind will be concurrent with the object, and as much as it is concurrent and concentrated, one is bound to see the truth, beginning with the true nature of mind and body. Such is the second aspect of the Dhamma, that is the practical aspect. The first one is the Dhamma, the method itself, and the second one is the practice of that Dhamma in accordance with the principles of the Dhamma. And the third aspect is the benefit, the result that can accrue out of the practice which you have undertaken, by way of purity of your mind and body, so that all your behaviors become blameless, gentle, graceful, affable. And if you are able to strive along the path and be fulfilled with insight knowledge towards the peak maturity of the practice, you will realize the path and fruition knowledge of the noble ones. Such is the reward or the result of the practice, the benefit of the practice. This is the third aspect. And then the fourth aspect is that once you have gained that result, you can apply it anytime. You can be absorbed in the fruition of the first path or whatever you have gained, and you have come into possession of the Dhamma, so that you can apply anytime you like. Such also is the fourth aspect of the Dhamma. So in this way, there are four aspects. Namely, to say it and to go over it again, the correct method of practice itself. The second one is the actual practice. The third one is the result that you gain out of the practice. And the fourth one is possession of the practice so that you can apply anytime. In a sense, Dhamma can be given as a method given in a systematic manner for the benefit of all beings with karuna, with compassion, to tame or cultivate one's physical, verbal, mental behaviors. That is the theoretical aspect. This is a discipline, specified method or specified discipline. Such is also can be given as the first part, the first meaning of Dhamma. And because one follows this path, practice in accordance with the principles of the Dhamma, follow this discipline, follow this method, and undertake the practice. And that is the second aspect of the Dhamma, Patipatti, the practical aspect. And then one gains the result of that practice. With the practice of Sila Samadhi Panya, one is able to overcome the three grades of negative mental tendencies, gross form, medium, by way of gross form, medium form, and refined form of negative tendencies are overcome with the practice of Sila Samadhi Panya, the three trainings of morality, concentration, and wisdom. And also when one attains the path and fruition knowledge of the noble ones, one is able to eradicate the respective negative tendencies to the point of nirvana. And in that also this fruition attainment also is involved. So such experiencing the result of the Dhamma is also another aspect of the Dhamma. And the Dhamma is, so in this way, Dhamma Vinaya, Dhamma discipline, doctrine discipline, can be given as discipline, the discipline itself, and the undertaking to follow the discipline, undertaking the discipline itself, and then the result by way of cultivating one's physical, verbal, mental behaviors, and realization of the path and fruition knowledge of the noble one, and finally the application of what one has gained. So what kind of people follow this Dhamma path? Straight on the Dhamma path. Those people who understand the quality of the Dhamma thoroughly, after listening carefully and taking to heart, knowing, being convinced of the quality of the Dhamma, leading to the installation of faith and confidence sada, leading to zeal to undertake the practice, and actual undertaking, exerting one's energy to undertake the practice. Such are the people who follow the path of the Dhamma straight. In a sense, understanding that these negative tendencies and all these three forms, namely coarse form, medium form, and refined form, are the causes of 100% of suffering, human suffering, or suffering of all beings, suffering of mind and body. And indulging them will lead to wrongdoing by body, speech, and mind. And then there are these latent underlying tendencies of negative traits, and then they have to be subdued, overcome. They need to be subdued because they are the causes of suffering. And such people are said to have gained a sense of urgency. Even if one has come to this stage, one understands that one becomes afraid of the mind-body process, which in Pali is known as samsara. Samsara is none other than the present. We have the present samsara. We're living in the present samsara. That is, all these activities which we are doing, namely seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, bending, stretching, and so on, also come under the connotation of samsara. It also has the connotation of transformation from one existence to another. Sometimes from good, by doing good things, we are born into a good existence. If we do bad, of course it will be worse. So such the process of mind and body is known as samsara. So whether good or bad, we are bound to be traversing around this samsara wheel of birth and death. So even if we do something good which leads to the wrong, will be again involved in this round of samsara. If you do something bad, of course, it'll be worse. It'll be very worse. It'll be very bad. So seeing the danger in the round of the wheel of the round of births and rebirths, death, birth and death, is known as bhikkhu. Of course, if one does not undertake the practice and one is only by appearance bhikkhu, it will be only bhikkhu by name, not bhikkhu and practice, whether it is bhikkhu, nun or lay person. Just being afraid of samsara is not enough. One must understand that these negative tendencies are the causes of human suffering. And then once you are overwhelmed with these Kilesas diseases, you are bound to be oppressed, tormented. So one must know that, study it, then try to undertake a practice in order to overcome them. And hence this saying, Kilesas Bhinaditi Bhikkhu. Bhikkhu means one who practices the three trainings in order to overcome these negative tendencies. So in this way, this niyama again, just to go over it again, that whoever is being afraid of samsara, fearing samsara, one strives to overcome his impurities, are known as kilesa. So one has got to be afraid, first of all, one has got to be afraid of the dangers of the samsara, fears the dangers of samsara, but not just fearing of samsara is not enough. One must understand that they are the causes, these impurities are the causes of human suffering, and one must be able to go to the extent of undertaking the practice in order to overcome these impurities. So if the monk practices it, then the monk will become bhikkhu. And if a yogi practices also, yogi will also can be called bhikkhu, whether it is man, woman, whoever undertakes the practice in order to overcome the impurities is known as bhikkhu. So whoever in the world is afraid of samsara and undertakes the practice will be listed as a bhikkhu. So why do we have to overcome these impurities? Because they are the causes for suffering, the Kilesas suffering. And just like the medical scientists in the world go through these processes in order to eradicate the diseases in the world, such as first prevention, abstention, the first one, then prevention, then treatment, combating and eradicating. So they go through these processes systematically in order to overcome, in order to be able to rid the world of these major diseases. So after they have experimented, they found that these medicines are effective, so they prescribe these medicines. So too with the mental diseases and the causes for mental diseases. The Buddha, as much as there are this physical aspect of diseases, these mental diseases are much more dangerous and serious than physical diseases. And one must understand it and then apply these methods as we have discussed in the case of physical diseases, such as abstention, prevention, treatment, combating and eradication. So just like we go through such procedures in the case of physical diseases, so too we adopt these procedures in the case of mental diseases. Now, coming to these mental diseases, there are three parts or categories of impurities, namely transgressive type of impurities, Kilesas. which can arise in the body and speech, by body and speech, such as killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, and so on. Things which are transgressed physically and verbally come under this category, known in Pali as Videkama Kilesa, transgressive defilements. Sorry, I'm not finished. Just struggling. And the second part of Kilesa is the Prayogana Kilesa, obsessive kind of defilement, which one is obsessed, which can arise in one's mind. We say that it boils, nagging, boiling in one's mind. And then comes the third type, namely Anusya Kilesa, latent tendency, underlying tendencies of mental negative traits. And all these are underlying, they are lying dormant, latent, they don't show up, they don't manifest as it is in ordinary times. However, when the conditions are favorable, they will become manifest by body and speech, leading to violent deeds by body and speech, leading to serious consequences. So we have to remember these three categories of diseases and mental impurities, namely the gross type, the medium, and the refined type. So with the morality, with the practice of moral conduct, we overcome the first type, that is the transgressive type of impurities. And as for the second category of impurities, they can be overcome with the practice of concentration, serenity. And as for the third and final one, the anusya, the latent tendencies, they are overcome by the cultivation of insight, wisdom. So the Buddha has given these methods so that the relevant remedies for respective remedies for the respective diseases. So that the Buddha has tried these methods himself, discovered these methods, and he himself applied these methods, and he was able to overcome the diseases. And by having discovered it and applied it by himself, he gave this prescription to others systematically, so that the three categories of impurities are overcome in order to realize mental health and happiness. And the text has given this expression, which means that Dhamma is like a systematically prepared medicine. It runs like this: Samma Payutta Pesaja Miva Dhammo. The Dhamma is like the systematically prepared medicine. And the Buddha has given this, prescribed this medicine, which are to be relied upon, and so that those people who are suffering from these Kilesa diseases will be cured with the Dhamma which the Buddha has prescribed with great compassionate feeling. And also, as well, the Buddha, this expression was given that the Buddha is like a skilled physician or skilled medical scientist. It runs like this: Kusalo Vijo Viya Buddha. The Buddha is like the skilled physician or the skilled medical scientist. Why is it so? The reason lies in that the Buddha has the capability of treating and curing the underlying emotional afflictions with the medicine that he has, with the remedy that he has invented. That is given by this expression, Sanusya Kilesa Vyadi Harana Tamathataya. The Buddha is capable of treating, curing the underlying emotional afflictions. Hence, the Buddha has been compared to as a physician. He has given the remedies so that the relevant remedy is antidote for the relevant disease, namely the sila medicine, morality medicine, to overcome the transgressive diseases. The samadhi, concentration medicine, in order to do away with the obsessive impurities which can arise in one's mind. And then lastly, the pinya medicine, the wisdom medicine, to overcome the latent tendencies of impurities. So this way, the Buddha has given the remedy to treat the respective diseases with a systematically prepared medicine, with the practice of the three trainings, sila, samadhi, pinya. So by himself, the Buddha had cured of all these latent tendencies and diseases with the medicine that he had invented, had discovered, and he gave this medicine to others. Hence, his comparison, the comparison of the Buddha to a skilled physician. Now we have this the physician who is giving the treatment, and then the medicine which is systematically prepared. So just having these two is not enough. There must be one must be able to assess the quality of the physician and the medicine. So only those who has faith and confidence takes up this practice, and if they apply this method, then they are bound to be rid of these Kilesas diseases. And such are, as much as there are individuals who are treated and cured of diseases by adopting or applying these medicines, as a result of applying these medicines which are systematically prepared, so too there are individuals who are following this method and be able to overcome such diseases. So when you are applying these diseases, one should be able to do it regularly, in time, systematically, and to be effective, not just taking casually. Sometimes you take it, sometimes you don't take it, sometimes you forget to take it. Well, if you do like that, of course, then disease will not be cured. So one must take a full dose, full course of the medicine to be able to be cured of the diseases. Otherwise, if you take, sometimes you take, sometimes you don't take, off and on, if you do it like this, then it will not be worthwhile taking this medicine. And you will become a chronic patient, and also like a chronic yogi. So when the medicine is given to cure the respective diseases, one must be able to take it regularly and to take it in full course. So also with the Kilesas diseases, the impurities in three forms, gross, medium, and refined forms, have been with us all along our lifetimes. And the Buddha has discovered this medicine by himself. He had compounded this medicine, so to speak, and then he had applied it, knowing the quality of the medicine, that he was able to overcome the diseases, Kilesas diseases. So one should have faith and confidence in the physician or the person who prepared the medicine and the medicine itself, and have possessed his seal, chanda, in order to apply this medicine systematically. Such as if you apply the morality medicine, you're bound to do away with this transgressive type of impurities. And if you practice concentration, you'll be able to overcome this obsessive type of mental diseases. And if you're able to cultivate insight wisdom until you progress along the path, until you are able to realize the path of fruition knowledge of the Noble One, During the practice of insight, you are eradicating latent tendencies to the point of no return on a part-time basis, but once you realize the path consciousness, you'll be able to overcome these impurities on a full-time basis. In this way, those people who listen, who follow the instructions, teachings of the Buddha, the disciples, in order to overcome 3 categories of such impurities, will be able to overcome or be cured of their mental Kilesas diseases. It's already 1 hour. Let us stop here. We shall continue tomorrow.